Quickly before the video starts, if you guys are new to the channel and want to drop a sub, it's 100% free as we're trying to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Alright, so once you're in DaVinci Resolve, what you want to do is go into your project timeline settings, put your timeline resolution to custom, and make it 2560 by 1440. From here, make sure your FPS is 24, otherwise everything I show you, including the presets, will not work. Once you added the settings, you can select save. After that, we can go to playback, go to render cache, and make sure smart is selected. And with that out of the way, all of the clips, overlays, sound effects, and presets used in the video will be linked in the Google Drive in the description below. So the first thing we're going to do is mark the beats on our song. So right here I have Everybody Who Wants to Rule the World, and now let's mark the beats. Now before we sync our first clip to our first kill beat on our song, what you want to do is find a point in where you would like your intro to end. So anywhere from 5 to 8 seconds should work, but make sure you find a beat on your song. So as you can tell, right here's my beat. So now let's drag in our first clip. And just like that, my first clip is synced. Now what we can do is go to our marker and where our intro is going to end and cut our clip. We can just drag this portion out of the way for now. And on this cut section, let's right click and unlink the clips, and we can just delete the audio. We can right click on the clip, go inside to retime controls, and switch it to 50%. From here then, make sure we trim the clip from the left hand side. If you trim it from the right hand side, it will not work. So trim it from the left hand side, and let's just reline it up to our beat. It should look something like this. Now let's re-drag in the other portion and make sure it is synced. We can close out of retime controls and fade in our clip by about 1 second, and as well as our song. And now we can add our velocity. So there's only one velocity that we do. So to do that, let's highlight our clip as well as our clip's audio, right click and unlink the clips. From here, make sure you're on your kill, right click and select retime controls. Let's add a speed point on our kill and go 2 frames to the left, so 1, 2. Add a speed point. Then let's go 5 frames to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add a speed point. Let's change the first speed point to 50%, and let's go back onto our kill. And from here, we want to grab our middle speed point from the bottom. Make sure you grab it from the bottom, otherwise it will not work. So drag it just like this so it's back on your kill, and then we can go 1 frame to the left, just like this. Let's re-drag it 1 frame to the left, and essentially it should look something like this. Let's change this middle bit to 400%. Let's go back into our kill and go 1 frame to the right. And just like with the previous speed point, make sure we grab it from the bottom, but this time let's go 1 frame to the right. From here then, we can change the last speed point down to 50%. And then make sure to trim this down. With our velocity added, it should look like this. From here now, this next step is optional, but I think it makes the velocity look better. Let's go into our kill and cut our clip. And on the cut section on the right, let's right click and select a new compound clip. Then let's hit create. Let's right click on our compound clip and select open in Fusion page. And open up the folder that I provided with the presets. And let's drag in the Twixtor velocity. Connect the Twixtor into the media in, into the media out. From here now we can go back into the edit tab. Now let's add some presets starting with the build up. Make sure you're on your kill and go 20 frames to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's drag an adjustment clip and cut it on our kill. From here then, go to the start of the adjustment clip, right click and hit open in Fusion page. And once again in the folder that I provided, let's go into the buildups folder and drag in the buildup saturation 20. Let's connect the media in to the S_shake and the color corrector to the media out. From here then we can go back into the edit tab. And now for the impact, let's drag an adjustment clip, start it at the start of our kill and cut it at the end of the clip. Right click and select open in Fusion page. And let's drag in the light lens blur impact. Connect the media in to the S_flicker and the shake to the media out. Let's go back into the edit tab. Let's go into open effects and type in BCC lens blur OBS and drag this onto our adjustment clip. Let's open up in the effects tab, keyframe the IR scale at 7 at the start, and then let's right click on our adjustment clip and hit open in Fusion page. And let's go to frame number 15, and then we can go back into the edit tab and turn the IR scale down to 0. Additionally, we can go back into open effects and type in BCC brightness contrast and drag this onto our adjustment clip as well. Let's open it up, keyframe the brightness at 15 at the start, Once again, right click on our adjustment clip and hit open in Fusion page. Let's go to frame number 12 this time. Go back into the edit tab, and then we can turn the brightness down to 0. From here now, for both adjustment clips, we can right click and select render cache color output. And for the impact, additionally, we can right click and select render cache OFX filter and select BCC lens blur. Right click one more time, go to render cache OFX filter and select BCC brightness contrast. What this will do is pre-render or build up an impact. With it fully rendered, it should look something like this. As you can tell, that Twixtor really slows it down and makes it look good. First clip is done, now we can move on to the rest. So as you can see, the second clip is synced. Now let's add the same velocity. Additionally, once again, I'll be adding my Twixtor, so let's cut our clip on the kill. Right click and make this a new compound clip, select create, right click, open in Fusion page. Let's open up our folder with all the presets and drag in the Twixtor velocity. Let's connect in the Twixtor. And now we can go back into the edit tab. For the build-up, make sure we are on our kill and go 8 frames to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go into the effects tab and drag an adjustment clip. Cut it on our kill. From here, right click and hit open in Fusion page. And once again, go into the provided folder. And let's drag in the pre-shake build-up 8. Connect the media in to the S_shake. And the blur mode curves to the media out. Let's go back into the edit tab. Let's drag an adjustment clip for impact, cut it at the end of our clip, go to the start of the adjustment clip, right click and hit open in Fusion page, and let's drag in the light kill impact, connect the media in to the S_shake, and then the blur mode curves to the media out. Let's go back into the edit tab, and once again, let's go into open effects, but this time let's just add BCC brightness contrast. So then make sure we drag it onto the adjustment clip, open up in the effects tab, keyframe the brightness at 15 at the start, right click on the adjustment clip and hit open in Fusion page. Go to frame number 12. Let's go back into the edit tab now and turn the brightness down to 0. From here then we can right click on both adjustment clips, hit render cache color output, and then for the impact we can right click and select render cache OFX filter and select BCC brightness contrast. With the second clip rendered, it should look like this. Third clip is synced, and now again, let's add the velocity. Now let's add some presets. And once again, for the impact, I'll be going with the light kill impact. And then once again, make sure we add BCC brightness contrast. With the third clip fully rendered, it should look like this. Now let's move on to the fourth clip. Once again, let's add velocity. And finally, some presets. And for this impact, I went with the lens blur impact, so now let's add BCC brightness contrast and BCC lens blur OBS. With it fully rendered, it should look like this. Once again, let's add the velocity. Now some presets. And lastly, once again, the velocity. And once again, some more presets. And with the last clip fully rendered, it should look like this. And then since this is my ending clip, to fade it out, what we can do is go into video transitions and drag in a cross dissolve. And then we can also fade out our clip's audio. So once your syncing is done, we can move on to transitions. The transitions are actually pretty easy. They are just simple cross dissolves. So let's drag in a cross dissolve onto our first compound clip. And let's make it 8 frames long, so go 8 frames to the left, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's just trim it down so it's on our playhead marker. From here we can also go into audio transitions and drag in a cross fade 0 decibels and make it the same length, so something like this should work. From here, let's just repeat this for every clip. Once you are done with your transitions, now we can move on to our intro. So let's go into the effects tab, drag an adjustment clip, and let's go to our marker on where our 50% ends. So in my case, it's right here. And let's go 15 frames to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One thing I would like to mention is if you need to make your adjustment clip longer, like in my case, make sure you extend it from the right hand side, because if you do it from the left hand side, it will not work. From here, let's go into our adjustment clip, right click, and select Open in Fusion page. Let's go into the provided folder with all the presets. Let's go into the intro saturation and drag in intro saturation. Let's connect the media in to the color corrector and the blur mode curves to the media out. We can go back into the edit tab now. From here now, we can go into open effects and type in BCC vignette and drag this onto our adjustment clip. Let's open up in the effects tab. Let's keyframe the radius at 23.8 at the start. And let's go all the way to the end of the adjustment clip and change the radius to 73.5. From here then, on the adjustment clip, we can right click and select render cache color output. Right click one more time and select render cache OFX filter, BCC vignette. With the intro saturation fully rendered, it should look like this. Now for the text, let's go into titles and drag in a normal text, and let's make it the same length to our 50%. So it should be like this. Let's click on the text and type in highlights, make sure it's all lowercase. Let's switch the font to Times New Roman. And let's put the font face to regular. Let's click on the color and put in the same hex that I do, so hashtag FFC869. Then let's hit OK. Let's put our size to 130. Let's scroll down now until we find the y-axis and put it to 600. Scroll down a little bit more until we find offset and put the x offset to 8. From here then, turn the blur down to 1 and the opacity up to 100. From here then, we can right click on our text and select new compound clip. Hit create. Let's right click and select open in Fusion page. And let's go into the provided folder. Let's go inside the intro text and go inside the highlights text. Drag in the highlights text preset, connect the media in to the S_shake, and the glow to the media out. From here we can go back into the edit tab. From here we can go to the start of the compound clip and fade it in by about 10 frames. Then we can go to the end of the compound clip, go into video transitions and drag in a cross dissolve, and make the duration about 0.5 seconds, should be good. From here now we can go back into the titles and drag in another text and drag it over the text that we just inserted. Make it the same length. Let's click on it and put in your name. So this guy's name is Blue, and we can put an asterisk. Let's switch the font to Times New Roman once again. And then let's put in the same color, so the hex should be hashtag FFC869. Hit OK. Put the size to 130. And then once again, make sure your font face is regular. Then let's scroll down until we find the Y position. And let's put it to 760. Scroll down again until we find offset. Make it 8. and then turn the blur down to 1 and then the opacity up to 100. From here then we can right click on it and select new compound clip, hit create, right click on the text and hit open in Fusion page. Let's go back into the folder, but this time let's drag in the name text preset. So drag this in, connect the media into the S_shake, and then the glow to the media out. From here we can go back into the edit tab, fade it in by about 10 frames once again, and then the fade it out we can go into video transitions, drag it across dissolve, and make the duration about 0.5. Once you have this part of the intro done, this next step is optional, but I do think it makes it look a little bit better. Let's hold Control on our keyboard and select both of the compound clips and drag it up by 1 track. Let's drag in a normal text, click on it, and then for the text let's just put in an asterisk. Let's put the font to Times New Roman, and then once again make sure the font face is on regular. Keep the color as white, but then put the size to 150. Scroll down until you find drop shadow and make the offset 8. Turn the blur down to 1 and then the opacity up to 100. From here now what you want to do is just play with the X and Y positions. So for example, if I want it under the V, I can go like this, and if I want to bring it up, I can. So essentially we just want to experiment and see what works best for us. And then to add more, we can click on this text, hold Alt and left click and drag, so this will create another copy, and then we can just reposition wherever we want this to be. And like I said, this is pretty random and there is no right or wrong way of doing it. To make this look even better too, what we can do is click on one of the text, hold Alt, left click and drag above our other 2 texts. So now if we change the position of the top one, as you can tell, the asterisk will be over the text. So if I do something like this, as you can tell, instead of it being under, it's over. So once again, play around and see what works best for you. So once you found something that you like, what we can do is make all these texts a compound clip. So compound clip all of them, just like this, even the top ones. And then it doesn't matter which one we start with, but just go to one of the text, right click on the compound clip and select open in Fusion page. Let's go into the provided folder. And from here, let's go inside the asterisk text and drag in the asterisk text preset. From here then, let's just connect the media into the S_shake, and then the glow to the media out. We can go back into the edit tab and repeat this for every asterisk. With all the presets added, now we can fade in the text and fade it out as well using a video transition and make the duration about 0.2 seconds. So let's just do this for every asterisk text. So with your intro done, it should look something like this. Like I said, you can keep on messing around with it, but just see what works best for you. So now we can apply some overlays and always experiment. But just for some examples, for over where our intro is, I like adding in this background overlay. Let's put this over everything and cut it at the end, just like this. And then for every overlay, make sure you put the composite mode to screen, as screen looks the best. And then since the opacity is a little strong, we can put it down to like 35, and then we can fade it out a little bit. Another example I will give you guys is light leak transition number 6. Put this towards the end on where your intro is, and then you can just sync it up to wherever it kind of lights up, just like this. And once again, make sure you put the composite mode to the screen, and then we can fade it out. So as you can tell, when our intro kind of slowly fades out, there'll be a light leak that lights up. From here now, it's pretty much just playing around to see what works best for you. So as you can tell, I added all my light leaks. Like I said, there's a lot of them and there is no right or wrong way of doing it. It's just whatever looks best for your clips. So now coming to the end of the tutorial here, we can add in some sound effects. So go into your kill and let's import the bass swoosh, just like this. And let's just sync this up to our kill. And if yours is locking like how mine is, uncheck this magnet and then you should be able to drag it freely. Let's add a marker and then make sure to hit the magnet tool once again. And let's put the bass swoosh to about -6 decibels. From here then, we can go to our next kill, hold Alt on your keyboard and left click and drag. So what this will do is create a duplicate, and just do this for every clip. As you can tell, I have all my sound effects added. So once you're satisfied with your edit, what we can do now is render it. So let's go to the rocket ship, which is the deliver tab, and just name the file name like no color correction. And one thing to note, make sure you're using a custom export as that looks the best. Put your format to an MP4, and then make sure the resolution is the same as your project timeline settings. So make sure it's 2560 by 1440 and make sure the frame rate is 24. From here, the restricted to kilobyte rate, hold the number 2 on your keyboard until you can no more and then hit enter. And then switch every keyframes, put it down to every 1 frame as that looks the best. From here, let's open up advanced settings. Scroll down until you find force sizing to the highest quality and force debarrier to the highest quality, and make sure you check both just like what I did. From here then, we can hit add to render queue and render all. Once your video has been fully rendered, what we can do is create a new project and just name it like color correction. From here then, let's go into the edit tab and put in the same project timeline settings as we did before. So make it custom, 2560 by 1440, and make sure the frame rate is at 24. From here, we can hit save. From here now, let's drag in our rendered file, so mine is right here. From here now, let's drag in an adjustment clip and make it the entire length of our video, just like this. Let's right click and hit open in Fusion page, and now let's drag in the orange color correction preset. Let's connect the media in to the S_tritone and the film to the media out. From here now, we can go back into the edit tab. Let's go into open effects and type in BCC brightness contrast and drag this onto the adjustment clip. Let's open up in the effects tab, put the brightness to 3 and then the contrast to 1. So as you can tell now, we have a nice color correction as well as RSMB to our video. From here now, you would want to re-render this video with the same render settings that I showed you before. Overall, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want more tutorials, please leave your suggestions in the comments below.